What's up, guys? Let's talk about Bitcoin for a little bit. I'm going to start at the 4 hour. I will probably take a couple of water breaks. I believe we were hit with COVID in the household. The wife tested on Friday. We should have results this week. So I really don't have any symptoms except for a slight cough slash throat issues. So I may have to pause just to take those breaks, get some water. Looking at the 4 hour, starting here, we know that we had a structure here. Looks like some kind of continuation pattern. And for me, I don't know if it's triangle. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's flat. I don't care. You can make the case that this is a running triangle, A, B, C, D, E, before an impulse. So we've got this move up. We've got to move up here. We've got a sideways consolidation pattern or continuation pattern, and we've got an impulse out of it. Now it's clear that we broke this trend line. Breaking that is bearish. For me, we have an important low here. This one was reasonably important, but this one is probably the most important low on the chart because it led to our highest high. So we've got higher highs, higher highs, higher highs. This is not higher high, and this is the highest point since our reversal here. So is there any point on the chart where this higher low that led to our highest high has a trend line that's still intact? It's really not. Even if we're nice and use this, we've broken down from this. If we come down here, it just gets worse. There's no way to catch this higher low and use it in a trend line, use it to draw a trend line, and keep the trend line intact. Now that said, this being our most important low, we haven't broken it. We have currently maintained that as a higher low. We haven't broken the series of higher lows. More internally, we have. If we're looking here, this is our high, we got a low, lower high, lower low. This is a downtrending piece. Lower high, lower low. What about this? Is this a lower high? At some point, if this series continues, we'll just accelerate out of it. You can see similar price action back here. And back here as well. So it is not uncommon for that to happen. In fact, I would argue it's a very common reversal pattern to make a messy downtrend or uptrend reversal and then accelerate out of that. So it's hard right now to not consider that as a bearish case. Excuse me. But until we break this, and we've got a high volume level at 8,700, then I can't really get bearish. What I want to see, plus we're positive. Momentum's positive. MACD momentum indicator, we're positive on the 4 hour. So as long as we're positive on 4 hour and 1 hour, I'm not really looking for shorts. However, we're in the red on the daily. So if this rolls over, I get pretty bearish. For the most part, I think that once it does roll over, our targets are pretty low. I said once it does, if it does. I do think that we could bounce like this. And I'll show you why in just a minute. But at some point, I'm expecting to break this 3,700 low if we break down from this structure. To the bullish side, we're watching a trend line here. So actually, this whole area is good to watch. If we break the higher low before we break the trend line, then that would be bearish. If we can break this trend line and flip MACD positive on the daily chart, then I start looking for continuation up still. And I am in longs now. I've been trading based on low time frame signals. I got a great entry from CVD on the 1 hour. I'll show you that in a minute. Literally, I started entering on this wick because of CVD signals. And I've added to it. So my average entry, I think, is somewhere in here. But it was a solid entry where now I have some room, even if this comes down and corrects before continuing up. But if 1 hour flips red, then I begin looking to close that long and look for shorts. We also have the mid-range. Let's pull this chart up here. So we've got our important higher low here. There's a higher low here as well. For me, this is what I'm using as the range low. And this is what I'm using for the range high. We have a deviation below the range low here, but even this started the range low. The closes here were part of that range low. If we lose this higher low or range low, my bearishness becomes stronger than it is. It's hard to have a bias in either direction right now. Daily's red, so it's hard to be bullish. 4 hours positive, so it's hard to be bearish. And we're waiting for a true breakout on either direction to have that swing mindset. Right now, my entries remain on lower time frames, and I'm just watching for what plays out. If we can turn this mid-range into support, and we can get over this point of control, this entire piece here, the highest volume level is right in here. If we can get over these, and get over the downtrend, and turn MACD positive, I'll be one of the loudest bulls on Twitter. But until that happens, I continue to give validity to the bearish case as well, especially because of the length of time this has taken. It's been way too long. We could still have some kind of A, B, C, A, B, A, B, C, D. I don't even know. I don't know what's happening in here. This whole thing is a mess. There's no pretty subwaves through here. You got an impulse down and what looks like three waves here, 3 waves here, 3 waves here. So 5, 3, 3, 3, 3. Doesn't make any sense. What I do know is that we had 3 waves here, and we had what looks like 3 waves here. So when I bought this wick, I had that to support a move to the upside. Could this just be an AB base before a stronger move up? Yeah, definitely could. And that would mean this whole time they're just shaking us out. They don't want us holding longs as they move us up. Because of how long we've been consolidating here, once we break out, I don't expect any real retracement for at least probably a couple grand, a couple $1,000. Once people start saying we're going to the moon or we're going to zero, then maybe we'll bounce or reverse short term. But we don't have to. It could just simply continue up without any kind of relief. What I'm saying though is don't counter trade that. If you see us start breaking this and you're like, oh, I'm going to short this, just don't. Wait for some higher time frame confirmations. Could I be wrong and we simply break it and then reject all the way down? Yeah, absolutely. I would rather miss this move than try to counter trade what could be an absolutely massive move to the upside. And same in the reverse. If we fall down, honestly, I have more conviction to the downside. If we move down, I doubt that we bounce before 6,400. Bet we continue to 6,400 within a few days. Then after that, we could see some kind of consolidation between these two volume levels. One thing that keeps me from being strong bear is the daily CVD. Trying to make this a little more clear here. So here we have higher lows, but on CVD we have lower lows, both from these points here and here, as well as in this leg here. And that is hidden bullish divergence, suggesting that market sellers are selling, but we have limit buyers in here buying it up, absorbing those market sells, which is quite bullish. CVD is incredibly strong, guys. I've used CVD for many trades, and I've posted CVD many times. I honestly don't remember the last time that I posted a CVD divergence that didn't play out. That's not to brag, that's talking more about how strong CVD is as an indicator. It's quite different than other indicators out there. The closest thing you can find on TradingView would really be OBV, but it's not a direct calculation. CVD you can get for free on coinalyze.net. It's very easy to use because it's a lot like TradingView. They're using their charts, but they're getting their own data for order flow. So you can also access open interest on here. You can access liquidations. If we just hit add extra data here, it's going to give us long liquidations, this is short liquidations, long liquidations, and open interest. So open interest has been rising through here. This is BitMEX in particular. It has been rising, but it's honestly pretty bearish that it was up here, and now price has almost reached that same level. Really, it did reach the same level, but open interest is nowhere near the same level as it was. So that in itself is a bearish divergence. Let's see if the shift works. Yeah, it does. The most important thing that I use on Coinalyze is going to be CBD. It's the most directly tradable. It's hard to use on a daily time frame. It's hard for me to tell you. It's hard for me to show you on a daily time frame how strong CBD is because our data stops, right? It stops right here. It doesn't go back that far. So this is the first example I really have to show you of a divergence on a daily time frame. They've happened before, but I can't really reference that for you. But I can go down to the 1 hour and show you how I entered there. I've seen CBD divergences on the 5-minute play out. It's an incredibly strong indicator. So counter trading it is not really one of the things I want to do. You see we had a higher lows here, but CBD suggested that there was market sales coming through at a higher rate than there was here. So we made a lower low on CBD, higher low on price, hidden bullish divergence. I posted that, said we're probably going to bounce, and that was on this wick. So that enabled me to start getting good entries here and add to my position here. I'm in great shape right now where my stop is in profit and I can still add to it if we get higher time frame confirmations like the daily MACD flipping positive. Let's talk about one more thing. Let me grab my water here. Let's talk about one more thing on the daily chart. I'm actually going to take this whole thing off here. So Bitcoin Jack had made a post about this structure, how it's been expanding through here. And he's 100% accurate. We have like this barrier top. So I made a post on Twitter yesterday and posted a poll about it. Let me show you how I derived that post. So first of all, I took something like this from here over. And then I just flipped it over. And I flipped both axes, the X and the Y. So now instead of this expanding triangle, we have a contracting triangle like this. This looked very familiar to me. We had a contracting triangle back here. Triangles are by nature continuation patterns. So we came down into it and we fell out of it and then we reversed. So over here, we fell out of the triangle and then reversed. So my question was, which one is more likely? Is it more likely that we come down into the triangle or that we come up into the triangle? For me, because triangles are continuation patterns, it's more likely that we come down into the triangle and continue out of it before the reversal, which makes it then look very similar to what happened back here. So literally, I'm just reverse engineering the pattern. This makes the bearish case a lot more sensible to me, a lot easier to understand for my mind. That's how my mind works. I see higher lows through here. I get exceptionally bullish. But when I look at it in this manner, it makes me realize exceptionally bullish may not be the way to go. So for now, I'm exceptionally cautious. I'm watching the lower time frames for all of my entries, and I will build my position as I get higher time frame confirmations. I'm long right now. Because we were very clearly at the bottom of a channel. Why would I want to be shorting at the bottom of a channel? I really don't. I would want to be shorting at the top of the channel. I should treat this as support until support fails. So I did short up here. I shorted in this little piece, but I was very quick to the long when we got to this with the CBD divergence and knowing we're at the bottom of this channel. But then we have this resistance right in the middle, and not too far above that, we have a high volume level that we have to watch. So it's a little bit of a weird place to trade. Right now, I have no way to enter positions. If I was going to be entering something, it would be a short. But why would I be entering a short? Just looking for this. I guess I could. For me, I will enter shorts if we get like a 1 hour flip, and then I'll add to it as we break down. All right, guys, I think that's all I've got. I've rambled on longer than I intended to, which is normal for me. If you have any questions at all, just hit me up. Comment on Twitter, comment on YouTube. All shares are appreciated. Try to get the YouTube viewership up just a little bit. It's not any fun if nobody's watching. So hopefully if you enjoyed it, let me know. And if you have any questions, just hit me up.